We are waiting on Stargate because we are waiting on Amazon to pick a production company to make the show. So I've had a look at how Amazon have done this in the past, and I've tried to understand their business model so that I can explain to you guys why we're still waiting. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So I broke the news, 9 months ago, that Amazon weren't massively excited by Brad Wright's script for Stargate. MGM kept pushing and kept pushing, but Amazon brought down the hammer, and months on, we're still waiting for official news on Stargate. I've been telling you about some of the stuff that's going on behind the curtain, some of the rumors that have been going around Hollywood. But until we get something official, that's all it is, just rumor. Now, the current state of affairs, apparently, is that Amazon are trying to push to find a new production company to actually produce the show. Now, why is this? It's the simple fact that Amazon don't actually make much of their own TV shows. They're a production company. They finance TV shows and movies. They don't actually make them themselves. Now, MGM have basically been doing the same thing for a long time. Due to financial reasons, they sold their studios years ago to Sony. And if you actually look at most of the productions over the last 10 or 15 years, they've always been in cooperation with another studio. Somebody else makes the show for them, and they just finance it and then distribute it. But it's all very confusing. When you look at Wikipedia or other sources and you find out which production companies are involved in making a TV show or a movie, the list can be quite long. So I've looked at a few TV shows that Amazon have produced over the last few years in the hopes that we might be able to understand what they're doing with Stargate. First of all, let's look at the boys. So first of all, we'll look at Point Grey. Now, that's actually the company that's owned by Seth Rogen. And Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and Eric Kripke are the people that actually developed this show originally. Originally, it was supposed to be a movie, but then Amazon took it on and said, look, this would be great as a streaming series. And that's why we then got The Boys on Amazon. But Point Grey don't actually make the series. They don't own studios themselves. They are the people that develop the show, and they are involved in the future development of the project. Kickstart Entertainment are another company that's involved in this. Now, they do own studios, and in cooperation with Original Film, who also produced the series, they actually do the production of the show. So they actually have the actors physically in a studio making the series. Now, Amazon and Sony Pictures are also involved and listed as production companies, but they actually are not involved in any way other than to finance the project. But why? And the simple reason is money. Shows like this are incredibly expensive to produce. $10-15 million an episode is the norm nowadays. So you even have a 10-episode run, you're talking about a potential investment of $150 million. Now, one production company doesn't necessarily always want to take all of that risk on board, so they try to spread it out a little bit. In this case, Amazon cooperated with Sony Pictures, and they decided to produce and finance the TV show together. Now, they half their risk, but they also half the reward. Now, other TV shows, for example, like The Expanse, are sometimes owned solely by one production company. In this case, it's Alcon Television. Alcon own The Expanse. They own the rights. They own the intellectual property. Amazon is a customer that buy the TV show off Alcon. They finance it. They pay Alcon to produce the show, and in return, Alcon sell them the distribution rights. So Amazon own the distribution rights to that TV show. But there are other production companies involved, again, even in a show like The Expanse. Penguin and a Parker is actually a production company that's owned by Mark Fergus. Now, you will know, if you're a regular SciTrekker, that I've told you the rumours that Mark Fergus and his long-term working buddy, Hawk Ostby, have been employed by Amazon to create a production bible for the TV show Stargate, which I've been arguing is in very early stages of development at the moment. If that is true, this company, Penguin and a Parker is one that I thoroughly expect to see attached to the new Stargate series when it comes along. And if it is, that will be our confirmation that this rumor about these two guys doing this development work for Amazon was true all along. The Peripheral is a brand new TV show that's currently on Amazon. If you haven't watched it yet, I strongly suggest you go and look at it. It's based on an old punk sci-fi novel. It's absolutely fantastic and beautifully made. It's definitely a TV show that couldn't have been made 10 years ago. There are a couple of production companies involved in this. Jonathan Nolan is the guy behind Westworld and a few other brilliant projects like the new Fallout TV series is currently in development. His production company, Kilter Films, is involved in the creation of Peripheral because Jonathan Nolan is the main showrunner. Like Stargate used to be made by Gecko Films, production companies that were actually created by Joseph Mallozzi and Brad Wright, for example, to make Stargate Atlantis. Kilter Films is the company that the showrunner works for and owns and is therefore involved. Warner Brothers is also involved in the co-production of The Peripheral, along with, obviously, Amazon Prime. But it's actually Copper Heart Entertainment that are actually producing and creating the content. It's Copper Heart Entertainment that, again, rented the studio space and are actually making the show for all these other production companies. So this is how Amazon make TV series and movies. They put together a consortium of production companies, and they're not the only ones. Lots of TV companies do this. You can always tell at the start of a movie if the production company wasn't necessarily 100% convinced that the actual result was going to be a commercial success, because there'll be several production companies. It'll be in association with, in association with, in association with. They spread the risk. They spread the initial cost. And this way, no one production company is too stuck if the movie then bombs. And let's be honest, lots of movies and TV shows do bomb. So there are business reasons why lots of production companies are involved. There's also, though, creative reasons. A TV show like Stargate is going to need significant CGI. Now, back in the day, originally with Stargate, they spent a lot of money actually creating their own computer-generated imagery. But they actually spent a bloody fortune on the software to be able to create that all in-house. But that is not going to be what happens with a new Stargate series, simply because CGI has become so massively expensive. They're not going to be able to create a reasonable product by doing something in-house. They will go to a production company that specializes in CGI, and they will hire them to create the special effects on their behalf. So that will be one of the companies on the production list, whoever does the special effects. This show will almost certainly be financed by MGM and Amazon, so you can expect to see both of those production companies on the list. You can also then expect to see another company that will actually have the studio and that will actually make the show. You can then potentially then see production companies, for example, Penguin and Parker, that have been involved in the development. So when we actually finally do get Stargate, the production companies will not just be MGM in production with something like Gecko. It'll be MGM with Amazon, with Penguin and Parker, with somebody else, and with probably somebody else. This is one of the reasons why Amazon is taking so long to get Stargate onto our screens, because setting all this up and getting all these agreements takes time. It's also another reason why Brad Wright isn't involved, or at very least not at the moment, because Amazon was never going to allow MGM to make this TV show the way they'd made Stargate previously. Amazon have a very different business model. And even though we didn't realize this a few months ago, Stargate was never going to get to our screens as quickly as we'd hoped. But there is good news on the horizon. I'm told that Amazon really do want a lot of big announcements in and around this date of January 15th when MGM Plus launches. Lots of big news stories to help push the subscription channel and hopefully get lots and lots of subscribers to MGM Plus quickly. One of the ways they can do that is by announcing Stargate, because they know we'll all go fucking crazy. My channel, for example, will go mental. I will go live. I will probably go live for several hours because I will be very excited. The video of me announcing the new Stargate series will have a lot of I told you so's. I'm sorry, I'm a very petty man. But also, it will just be a glorious celebration of what we've been so desperately waiting for over a decade. So, fingers crossed, we are going to have a very bright 2023 while we look forward to a new Stargate series and maybe a movie or two. But guys, get in the comments and tell me what you think about everything I've been talking about. I'd love to know. Also, if you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out. And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to become a fully fledged SciTrekker and hit the join button. As always, please stay safe. I'll see you next time.